tugging. Putting up numbers, 99 problems, and I still kept it 100. Hola. Yeah.
Yo, chickadee check, y'all. Chickadee check, 1 2 1 2. Who's listening? Beaming across all time and space, all 7 of you that are listening. You're going to witness something that you may or may not have never seen before. Hi, my name's Kenny Glick. I am the greatest trader on earth, and I'm not even exaggerating at this point. Today, we just put on a clinic like we did yesterday, and I hope you guys watch the show, and I appreciate everybody who shows up. There's a lot of cliches about trading, right? Patience pays, price pays, discipline. When we trade and we only use price and VWAP, right? So price and VWAP are the only reasons we do anything. So that instills the patience and the discipline and the risk reward. So let's get into it. This morning, we didn't have a lot of ideas, but you don't need a lot of ideas to be a profitable trader. You need one good idea every day, and you'll be a profitable trader and stay consistent. And sometimes when there's too much to choose from, you become kind of like, the squirrel, shiny object. Oh, what's that? Oh, open. Oh, do I trade PDD? Oh, there's another thing. Oh. Or you do what we do, and we come in like stalking hunters or killers, stalking our prey in the forest, like a panther. Or professional fishermen, you know where the spot is, you know what bait to use, and you wait, and you wait. So what did we trade today? We traded 2 stocks that I would normally never even look at during the day. Don't care. I certainly don't care what the future holds for these companies. I just care about getting paid today. And the trades that I put on are around these stocks because they meet the criteria to give us an unfair advantage, the edge, if you will. And in trading, all you need is patience, discipline, risk management, an idea, and the setup, right? And it's all we do every single day. So let's get into it, people. Were you trading Dollar Tree today? Who the hell even trades this stock? Nobody. I never look at Dollar Tree. I don't care about Dollar Tree. I don't even know what Dollar Tree does. It's one of them dollar stores, I guess, right? What's the difference between Dollar Tree and Dollar General? I don't know. I thought it was the same store, actually. But they reported earnings, right? And I'm interested. And by the way, we're short the Qs right now. I don't want to get into it. But I'll tell you why we're short the Qs right now. And it's an epic story of patience and discipline and risk reward. But let's go through what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about what we did and how to stay consistent and why you should be joining my chat room. And let me tell you something right now. Prices are going up. There will be no more discounting by November 1st, possibly by January 1st. It's going to be $12,500 to be a part of my room because we're doing that type of job and we're making that kind of money. And it's worth it to be a part of what we're doing. So pony up that cash sooner than later. Join the room and get your yearly subscription because I'm not kidding. Prices are going up. We're doing an 8-hour seminar every day. We're an education service. We're a pick service. We are an option seminar. We're a symposium about the health and macroeconomics. So basically everything there is in the world of trading, we're doing all in the day. So on either November 1st or on January 1st, rates are going up, and they're going up 300% because that's the fair price for me and my partner, Soligello, who have created this wonderful environment to stay disciplined, get paid. And part of what kept you in the trade today was being with me making sure that you didn't do anything silly like getting out of a trade when it didn't do anything. And the reason most people lose money is that they lose their patience and they assume, well, I better get out of this before something bad happens. That's not how you trade. You got to wait for the something bad to happen, then get out. If nothing bad is happening, then you don't do anything. So if you haven't noticed, the algorithms have taken over the stock market, and that's why I say the market's rigged. And I have proof that it's rigged. Half numbers and whole numbers, VWAP, retracements to certain levels that hit the certain price to the penny. We're not talking about a roundabout area. RSI, bullshit. Fibonacci, forget about it. We talk about price, the exact price. So take a look at this Dollar Tree trade, right? You see it? Let me get I'll make it even bigger so you can look at it. I know my beautiful bald head is distracting to you. You guys still hear me, I hope, right? So we came in. Why are we trading Dollar Tree? Well, they reported earnings. And I'm hearing that this VWAP trade works really, really well on earnings day because there's more volume and there's more activity when a company reports their earnings the night before or the morning of. Voila. We walked in, hey, Dollar Tree reported earnings, and look at this freaking activity. So here you got a stock that just reported earnings, the most volatile moment of its life, a pre-market earnings report, the most volatile time of a stock's life by far. There is no other time than, well, sorry, there is one there. The aftermarket report is even more volatile than the pre-market. But here you have a stock, $117 stock, or $115 stock reporting earnings. The most volatile, illiquid time of its life. And look what it does. It just happens to go to 117.50. And that's where it starts to sell off. Not a coincidence. Pre-programmed. Because the market's rigged to half numbers and whole numbers. 117.50, if you guys know about 117.50, very big number in the world of algorithmic trading. 102.50, 105, 107.50, those numbers are big. 117.50. And then you got your 1 minute multi-day VWAP reversal. Now, if you were up at 6 o'clock in the morning to enjoy this trade, this is the trade that now has worked 1,087 times in a row for the last 3 years. I'm going to let that one sink in and walk around the house. 1,087 times. All right, let me say that one more time. Let me get my 1,087 times in a row. Not one loss. It's provided you a winning trade. The 1 minute multi-day VWAP reversal trade on an earnings report has provided a winning trade now 1,087 times in a row for the last 3 years. Let that one sink in. Now, if I was you, right, I'd be saying, well, first I'd say that's bullshit. Nothing works every time. This guy's some sort of weird scammer, bald lunatic. I would say the same thing. But remember when we met, when we started doing these videos, I think we're doing it for Raging Bull. I think we're on Stock Twits now. We're doing it on Twitter. We're all over the place. Some of you guys, you've come to the room. I appreciate you signing up to the room, and you better do it quick because prices are going up 300% within the next couple of months. Remember when I started the streak, right? Remember when you might have met me and we were only at 987. So it's basically 100 more have happened since there. Even if you joined us last week, we were at 1,068 and we've had another 20 trades in a row. So if you're struggling with your trading, how about focus on a trade that works every time? So let's go through the anatomy of what we did here with the Dollar Tree. Now, again, if you were awake, the blue line is the 1 minute, the orange line is the multi-day, and generally you want to stock gaps above the 1 minute and the multi-day, and it breaks back below it over the last 3 years, every single time it provides you a winning trade. Now, when I say provide you a winning trade, if you're shorting it here at 110, let's call it 111, the stock drops 10 points, and you decide not to take a 10-point winning trade, and then the stock bounces 40 points, and you say, well, that didn't work. No. You didn't work. You broke the trade. You lost. What this trade does, it sets you up for an opportunity to take a profit every single time. And if you don't take the profit, that's on you, not on the trade. So let's imagine, if you will, you only woke up at 7:30 and you said, oh man, that would have been an amazing trade. It's too bad I was sleeping. Great. So then you have to readjust what you're thinking. And the next thing you know, you're seeing it over the VWAP. And then what do you know about that? It breaks back below the VWAP, and this time you happen to be awake. I hear that stocks that are above the VWAP that have reported earnings is a good idea to short them when they break back below the VWAP. Yes, that is a good trade idea. And what's wonderful about this trade, as I explain every day for the last 13 years, is when we get one wrong, and it's been a really long time since we got one wrong, when we get one wrong and it breaks the VWAP and starts ripping against you, you are limiting your loss because the stops are right there. Where the stock pivoted from is your stop. So that's clearly defined your risk. So if you're shorting here at 106 and change, your risk is 2 points. And on a $100 stock, that's the fair risk. And your reward, because you know market mechanics, if a stock went somewhere, tends to go back to test it. So your idea was that, hey, I could short this stock again here at 106, even though I missed a wonderful opportunity to short up there at 120 or 113. Why not take the short at 106.50? Knowing that it was down at 100. So in here you are risking 2 points to possibly make 6. Boom, cash. Now, some of the traders held it into the open. I'm not a fan of holding anything into the open because usually there's a counter trend move at the open. Welcome to the next trade. So I was short and I took some profit. Then I'm thinking to myself, now let's refresh, because now we've got a stock that's actually down on earnings. Do we want to short a stock that's down on earnings? No. We want to wait for the guy in the back. You should know this by now. We want to wait for the what? We want to wait for the faux show bro VWAP rack to the upside. There you go, guy in the back. Look at you learning. Let me see if the guy in the back's actually paying attention. Come on, man. For the love of God. What's up? What's up? All right. So because we had 2 shorts in the stock and got paid, right? And maybe you missed those 2 shorts. So your default was, okay, well, the stock's down on earnings. Maybe I wait for that other setup that works really damn well, the faux show bro VWAP break to the upside. And once again, you got a $100 stock that just reported earnings, the most volatile moment of its life, and lo and behold, it just stops at $98 to the penny, as if it was pre-programmed to do so, because the market's rigged. So then you see, oh wait, so now it's holding 98 and it just broke that low. Kenny tells me that's a fake out, shake out moment. I'm supposed to be buying it when it breaks back above where it came from. Oh, I missed it. But Kenny also says if you see a faux show bro in an earnings report and it still breaks VWAP, buy it. And I did. And I was late. I was late to this trade. But right there, because I know the faux show bro is so important, and then the VWAP break, I wound up buying the stock right there as it broke the 101, and the stock went to 102.39. And then it starts to plummet, and I wound up selling it. But in that move right there on 300 shares, you made yourself $250. You know what that is? That's a day's pay. But wait, there's more. But Kenny, I can't trade that fast. Okay, cool. So now you've missed 2 shorts and 1 long. You like the faux show bro, right? There it is again. Fake out, shake out. You see how it breaks a recent low, and then it comes right back, and then it breaks VWAP? Do it. There it is. You missed the first one, do the second one. And the second one worked as well. Now, again, we're actively trading these things, right? So when they roll back over, we're taking our profit on the way up, and then we're getting stopped out on the way back down. And then look what it does. So if you missed the 2 shorts, 1 long, 2 long, and when I talk about stalking your prey, Dollar Tree was our prey today. How do you stalk? You wait for the set. Oh, by the way, LIDAR is at $3 now. I can't believe it. LIDR. Anybody trade this thing today? See, talk about being patient. I lost my patience on this, and it finally moved. Anyway, anybody still in LIDAR? You're finally back to $3. I mean, we were in the straight for 3 hours to make 6 cents before, but you got some big size on the offer on LIDAR. That's usually a buyer. Keep an eye on it. I dig this stock. By the way, I'd still like that V-Wave. Somebody was asking me about that yesterday. But let's talk about this trade, right? So here we got Dollar Tree, a stock that we never even trade. But now we're actively trading it because there's reason to do so, because stocks that report earnings tend to be really good to trade around VWAP, especially when they give you the faux show bro, faux show bro, faux show bro, and then this one, which was the best one because it shook everybody out. So the people that were still in it from here and here, look, it went and got them. Because what people do and what algorithms do is they place stops at prior pivots. So the stop hunting programs go and search those stops, get them, and then the stock then moves without them, and then it breaks VWAP. So the reason that this trade is so awesome is that even if you make the mistake by getting out, and then you see it come right, make that U-turn, and then breaks back over the VWAP, stop what you're doing because you're about to ruin. Get excited, right? So you missed this trade 2 times on the short, 3 times on the long. It's giving you a 4th opportunity to get in with clearly defined risk at 101.50. Your stops are the fake out and the shake out. So now you're only risking $1. And now you should be asking yourself, what's the orange line up there? Thank you for asking. That's prior day VWAP. That's usually our ultimate goal, because stocks that start to trend, that report earnings, that get through today's VWAP tend to gravitate to the orange line. A little disappointed that we didn't get there, but still, it's a winning trade. And if you are trading options, right, check this out. So again, guy in the back, you paying attention, right? When we trade options, we don't go out buying the 110s for next month. We're not buying even the 105s for 3 months out. We're buying the option as if it's the stock. So we trade in lieu, as they say, in lieu of the stock. So for me, I could rock 400 shares of Dollar Tree. I got a big enough account. Maybe somebody doesn't. So what's your next course of action? You want to buy options, right? So take a look at what these options did. So here's the Dollar Tree. And if you were using proper procedure, right? Stocks breaking over 101.63, you're buying the 101s or the 102s closest to the money, because you want to trade the option as if it's the stock. So now you're getting, let's say, the one, some of you, again, I think you guys bought the 101s. I forgot which ones you guys bought. I was trading the stock, but there's the 101s. So again, not the most amazing trade, but if you were buying that dip, your entry price was 150 and the option got to 320. Now, I said that's not really a great trade. It's a mere 100%. But in 2025, doubling your money is not even that good of a trade anymore, because this has been the greatest year by far in the history of trading. There's never been a year better than this, ever. I don't want to hear legends. I lived 1998 to 2001. This is it. This is by far the best year of trading in the history of ever. Not even close. And that's what I'm saying. It's like here, this is a measly 100% on your money. It's not even that great of a trade because we keep finding these doubles and triples and quadruples and 10 baggers. We had a 10 bagger yesterday on the QQQ just ripping into the close. And a 10 bagger, that's 10 times your money, Holmes. We had an option trade from 25 cents, 2 cents. They went to 2.25 yesterday. Rip it into the close because, before I go any further, did anybody think the market was actually going to stay down yesterday? Right? Does anybody think that yesterday's lows might be generational lows? No, now you can put your hands up. Because right now, yesterday's sell-off could be very well generational lows. That could be it. There was your seasonality. There was your sell-off. This market does not want to go down. And yesterday's sell-off could be it. And I'm talking about it for the year. Maybe it for your life. Because this market really doesn't want to go down. And that's why yesterday's action was probably the most significant day of the entire year, because we did sell off and we held support, right? So that now, let me show you that QQQ trade, by the way. You know how important that level was because we got down to support, held it to the exact price because the market's rigged, to the exact price because the market's rigged. And right under there, right, is the major support. You were about 60 cents away. So this is, again, if you want to look at the most important 20 days this market is in right now. If you look at a 20-day on an hourly, it'll really give you a snapshot of this entire premise. And if we ever are going to sell off with any sort of like enthusiasms. You know what happens to the guy with the enthusiasms, right? A man steps up to the plate. This is his chance for individual achievement. But he's part of a team. You know what I'm doing right here? Come on. Unforgettable? I mean, what's up? Untouchables? Should I go right over everybody's head with that one, right? Enthusiasms. Man's got a lot of enthusiasms. If this market's ever going to go down, it's going to have to break this now, what is basically a triple bottom. There's our last mini sell-off. There's the one from yesterday. And now, if you look at this, let me show it to you a little bit in a bigger picture. Here's 30 days on an hourly. Right? That level was from the Apple sell-off. So now we've got the NVIDIA, let's call it the NVIDIA sell-off, which was last week. We kind of used NVIDIA earnings. Then you had the Friday into yesterday. This is the last sell-off. That was the Apple earnings reversal day. And for now, this new area is our generational low. But what I think there will be another burst of volatility at least once this month. And I believe we will test this 55168. We'll see when we get there. But for now, yesterday's lows are super, super important because it held near-term support. All right, enough of that conversation. Let's go back to this Dollar Tree. And this is how you stay focused, right? So Dollar Tree, bang, right? And the reason I brought that up, and the reason I brought the QQQ trade up was that, again, if you're not familiar with zero-date options, get familiar. And get familiar with what we're doing and come to the chat room. And make sure you're with us tomorrow night. Tomorrow night's going to be special. I'm going to have a little segment about nuclear stocks. Very interested in the sector. Nuclear stocks, uranium stocks, and coincidentally, my podcast host, Chris, otherwise known as Don Corleone on the internet, he's pretty hip to these, and we're going to go over those, learn a little bit about what the companies do and what their specificity is. I'm also looking to have another friend who's into the same sector, try to get him on the show tomorrow. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, Thursday nights, we get together in the chat room have a few cocktails. I play a Grateful Dead show from this day in history. If you like the Dead, come early at 6 o'clock. I put the music on. And around 8 o'clock, we start, crunching some charts. And usually I have a guest on around 8:30. We'll talk, some nuclear stocks. And I'm also going to have a guy talking about a platform. I'm going to actually reach out to the guys from Public. I'm interested in that platform now. It is kind of cool, Public, but I'm also talking to a guy, Cobra Trading. The reason is that, if you want to graduate to the point where you are a pseudo professional trader, you want to use the best software. And this software, what you're looking at on my screen, it's a combination of 2 different platforms. I use Lightspeed for my scanners because they have all these scanners built into their system, which other places charge for. They charge for it in a way. I'm paying $125 a month for their software. But what they have embedded in their software, other places charge $200-300 for all this stuff, and they do it for $100. And in the middle, I have Thinkorswim because since 2012, I have found that their charts have the better data feeds, and my script that we built it specifically for Thinkorswim first, and it's just the same chart that I've been using since 2012. I have not changed a thing, and one of those cliches about trading is something works, keep doing it until it stops working. And this trade has not failed in 3 years, so it's pretty remarkable. All right, so let's go back to what's going on here and why we're still long the Dollar Tree, right? Price, discipline, risk management. So on this last Faux show, bro, if you bought here at 101.60, our first goal was to get back to the highs of the day. Done. Sold. But you never sell your entire position at one price because we're all expecting it to go to 105. So we have to let it breathe now. So the way that you let a stock breathe and be comfortable is take profit. So if you're buying it at 101, let's call it 102, and you've sold some at 103.25, they can't take the money from you now. So if you had the 400 shares and you sold 200 here, now you've banked the money. Now you raised your stop to basically the VWAP and you let the stock work. And that's basically what we're waiting for right now, because we've seen more often than not that a stock that breaks today's VWAP tends to get to prior day VWAP. And we're in the driver's seat now because we've taken profit. We've made money on it once, we've made money on it twice, and now it's still an active trade because there really isn't any reason to be out of it. Voila. So now let's talk about Macy's. And you want to talk about patience? Oh my freaking God. So this one, okay, right? So guy in the back, this one's for you. Stock that's gapped up on earnings. Now, again, I didn't play with this one pre-market, just ripping right at the open. What do? What's my default? I short stocks that report earnings that are gapped up above VWAP. And I wait for a setup that I know usually works, right? So in this case, it broke VWAP and it came right back. So took a small loss. And then it came back to VWAP and held and starts to rally. So I was like, you know what? This one's not going to be a good one today. But then it starts to roll over again. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to give it another shot. So this time I waited. I wanted to see if they were going to screw people again. And they kind of did, because it broke VWAP and then it came back. And then it went right back to that price from earlier, the $16.10. Somewhere it kind of pivoted from there, broke down from there, and then it hit it again. Now I finally said, all right, I got to short this thing. So I finally get short, right? I'm sorry, I got short there, right? I'm mistaken. I was on the 1610 rollover right there. Here is where I thought I was going to get paid. Here's where that's $16.10. So because I used my entry price as my out, look what price it went to, 1607. My stop was at 1610. That 3 cents kept me in this trade. And then finally, talk about being patient. My God, we waited for this thing to happen. It seemed like it was like an hour or two. The thing was not moving. Finally breaks the VWAP, breaks down, and we got to where we believed the retracement would happen, and we finally made some money. And now look at this one, because, again, I wasn't in the options. I like trading stocks usually, but the option players who I taught well, they did the $16 put, right? And the $16 put right there, as that stock was making that turn, the options were 27 cents and they went to 50 cents. Just a mere 100% on your money. And again, these are just average trades. But I remember the days where if you doubled your money on a trade, that was pretty good. Not anymore. It's like a standard trade now, doubling your money. The good ones are the triples, the quadruples, and the 10 baggers, like we had going into the close yesterday on the QQQ. And that might sound funny. Well, wait a minute. So you only double your money on these trades? Yes. And it's not even that good of a trade. But today was a test of our willpower, our discipline, our patience, and all of that is instilled in you with VWAP and trading around price. That 3 cents kept me in this trade. And finally, all that boredom that I waited for an hour, you finally got a day's pay out of it. And again, a day's pay is all relative. I'm trying to make $300, $500 a day to keep keep me excited. Some people want to do more. Some people want to do less. Some people just want to make money, right? These trades continue to pay, and Macy's probably won't look at it tomorrow. Dollar Tree, maybe I take a glance. These are stocks that we don't normally trade, but today we did because the earnings, and Dollar Tree was pretty sweet. Macy's was okay, and then we have the mighty QQQ, the mighty Qs, right? Which may or may not have seen generational lows yesterday. So I'm dying to short, as always, right? I'm looking for some pullbacks. I thought maybe there'd be some residual selling. I'm a delusional bear. But I waited, and I waited, and I waited some more. And then I waited a little bit more. And then finally, we broke the upper range. And when we break the upper range, usually what you see is what we call the VWAP retracement, or the reversion to the VWAP, because the VWAP is the most important price. And just think of it as a magnet. When there's not much going on, VWAP then becomes a magnet. So the idea was, hey, we could short it up here with 70 cents of risk, because our short was the 471 break, and our reward was at 469.71. And then the reason I had this line down there was that was a pivot from earlier. And look at that. We got paid. And then right there was the end of the trade, because I don't let stocks break back above VWAP without covering the rest. And right now I'm flat, except, I guess some of these guys, I'm assuming somebody still owns the Dollar Tree because it's still working out pretty well. And that's the whole day. And that's all we did. And except for, this LiDAR trade that I did, I'll show you why. I just have this stock on the radar. When I see it breaking VWAP, I gave it a shot. I got paid a little bit, but really much was a waste of time. Just sold it just now. Was hoping for something more. But on days where it's boring, people usually churn their accounts. They get chopped up. They keep buying, expecting something to break out, and then they sell it, and then it goes nowhere. And then it breaks that new high. They buy it when it breaks the new high. It pulls back. They sell it. And all they're doing is a death by 1,000 cuts. The way we trade, you're going to just stay in this. You're just going to stay in the trade, because there's never really been a reason to get out. And that's why when you trade price, VWAP, like I said, it instills the discipline in you and the patience. And that's what you need to be a successful trader. Idea generation, pretty damn simple. You guys heard about this open trade, right? You could trade the stock every day for a living. I mean, the thing gives you a short and a long almost every day. So this morning, you had a little faux show bro action on the long trade, and then reason to short, right? There's the range. There's the VWAP break. There's the range break. There's the rollover. You get paid on the short. And the next thing you know, it's a faux show, bro. The longs are probably getting excited again. And it's just a wonderful stock to trade because it's, you're moving in 10% increments every day on this little $5 stock. And it's easy to short, very tight spread. Options are liquid, and, all that great stuff. I didn't watch the Neo, but that is a great question. And that's another thing I wanted to talk to you about. Following up, right? So yesterday, right, Neo, we were shorting it. Didn't really do too much, right? We escaped alive. We had the one short on it. Never even looked at it again. Turned out to be pretty good on the upside. And today, you Jerry all backed and you gave it all back. But speaking of that, what we did do, and again, I didn't do it. I'm not going to pretend. What some of our members in our room, they said, "Hey, Kenny, that Pepsi short was pretty good yesterday. What do you think about that today?" And I said, let's check it out. Right? And look what it did. Right? So yesterday, one of our best trades was the 1-minute multi-day VWAP reversal on Pepsi. And today, she followed through with VWAP consolidation, breakdown, pre-market low break, reason to short, and you got paid again on the Pepsi. And that's pretty much the whole day. This was a really, really boring day. But boring, first of all, boring is usually bullish. There's a saying, don't short a dull market, even though we did because we had the proper setup. But generally, boring is bullish. Everything's bullish right now. You want to hear, and also if you really need to know how to test if we're still in a bull market, ready? Here's the number one way. It's a secret. Now, don't tell everybody this. Each morning, if you want to know if the bull market's still on, do this. Now, when you inhaled, did some sort of oxygenated substance fill your lungs? Bull market. And if you need to double check, go outside. Is the sun out during the day? Bull market. Like it or not, it works. And I know it sounds silly, but this market just does not want to die. But, we picked our spot today on the QQQ short. And let's go through that trade right now because I am a little, again, I'm waiting to hammer this market. And we got what we wanted yesterday. I got what I wanted in the afternoon. I got the gap up. The only thing I'm not getting today is the gap that fails. And that is super bearish. So if a day like today was to give it up, and again, we still got 3-4 hours, so I don't think it's going to happen. But we're in a really tight range. So if this market is going to sell off, you're usually looking for a gap that fails. And right now, we have not failed. We had a pullback, but this is far from failing. But as a bear here, I'll take it to the next step. I will say that this move, and again, this might be me, my bearish delusion. I think today's setting us up, setting the shorts up. I think they're trying to sucker me into thinking that whatever I witnessed yesterday and Friday was bullshit. Usually it is. But we are in the seasonal moment of selling, right? And we are running out of catalysts to the upside. And the only thing we're not seeing is guy in the back. What are we not seeing? Well, we're seeing some selling right now. Thank you, guy in the back. What are we not seeing? UVXY. We're not seeing UVXY with any signs of life. So until UVXY springs back to life, and hopefully it's right now, and I know you guys are still short the Qs. I'm not short the Qs right now. But you need UVXY to be going up whilst the market's selling off. That confirms that it's, more than just schmucks like us putting on a couple of hundred shares of the QQQ short. You want institutional money being put. You want some S&Ps being put. You want to see some VIX spikes. And then there's a little nervousness out there. And generally, that's when you'll get some selling that actually follows through. Now, listen, I hope you guys are short right now because you got a little, this is the opposite of the faux show bro. So when a stock breaks a new high and then gets rejected and then it rolls, usually we sell off. Now, again, I'm rooting for you. And if you are short right now, the reason I like this setup, again, when you're wrong, it's not about if when you're short in the Qs. When you're wrong, your stops are the VWAP and the highs of that last attempt to rally. Again, I'm not short right now because I'm trying to avoid being short because UVXY is telling me not to do it. And I listened to my master. And, that's what was different yesterday. UVXY was staying strong, was strong. It was up about 12.5% at one point. And there was a reason to believe that we could sell off. Inevitably, it became a buying opportunity, as it always does, because we're in the, an amazing market, which is, and again, I'm not joking around. I think we're going to double from here in the next, 3 years. I really do. All right, time is flying. One other trade that we had was coming right off my scanner. And again, the reason that it's great to be a part of this chat room that I run here with my friend Solid and all of our friends that have been with me for quite some time. Some of our members that have been with me since 2007. Thank you very much. And scanners, right? Scanners. Everybody's got a scanner, right? Most people want to try to sell you a scanner. They tell you that it scans for this blob parameter, and they've used a team of NASA scientists to put together the scanner to transdimensional scanner. It scans the metaverse, the subverse, and it just spits out winners. No such scanner exists. Because if it did, I'd have it. Because if you don't know my secret identity, I am Scan Man. Scan Man. Scanning all the scans that a Scan Man can. I've got the best scanners. And you know what? They don't cost you anything. Because the scanners that I have are the only scanners that you need. And when you join the room, by de facto, by osmosis, you get the scanner as well. So we got an education that's second to none going on in the room. We give you the stock picks. We give you the reason that these stocks are going to do what they're going to do. We trade them live with you. So we make sure that you don't get out prematurely or make any mistakes. We teach you a little bit about options because I was an options principal. I'm also pretty damn good at finding investments because I have analyst friends that know what they're talking about, not the guys that pretend that they know what they're talking about. So basically, that's what we do at the Hit the Bid room, and that's why prices are going up. Because what we're doing in there is basically 6 different services and 3 scanners, if you want to throw the scanners in there. And those scanners today, and what I look for, is unusual volume. Because you love unusual volume. Because that's what VWAP is, right? You want to know where the volume's going in, right? And you also want to know where the volume's going in on option contracts, because the option contracts, those are the heavy hitters. So if you see a contract with 20 contracts, 30 contracts, and somebody comes along and buys 20,000 contracts, that's kind of damn interesting, right? So my scanner picked up PDD today, and people were buying thousands of contracts. And somebody was just loading the boat. And we got a tip. And again, if you are a fan of the unusual option activity, that, the idea is like, hey, somebody knows something. It's not always that black and white. But when you see a jump in options, the way that PDD, I think it was at 20,000, there was a 20,000 in there. Let me see where I lost now where it was. There it is. The October 21s. The October 121s. They went from 230 contracts traded to 21,000 contracts traded. Somebody's a fan of that PDD. So when we saw that go across my scanner, scanning all the scans that a scan man can, scan man, I am scan man. Next thing you know, you got your little faux show bro, and we found a new idea with the PDD long. And that's how we do it. And 30 years later, everything that I've learned about trading, we use all of that. But now, all that expertise or wisdom, I guess, and a lot of it is me getting my ass kicked. You know, I'm not going to tell you that story again. You know, for 3 years, I've completely lost my way and I pretty much quit. I was done. I had to resurrect my entire career. And now I am reborn hard, as they say in that movie that you should know. Get the fuck down off of my obstacle. I'm a reborn and I'm a VWAPian now. And you want to call it a cult? So be it. Because me and my cult leader, Solid Jello, join the cult. Join the cult. Because this cult makes you money. This cult shows you the light. This cult tells you the truth. And you can invite your friends and family over for holidays. And you could drink in our cult too. And whatever you want to do. Shoot guns, whatever the whole thing. But this cult that we have created here at the Hit the Bid Room it's only getting better every day. And like I said, the discounts are over. You know, by November or by December or January 1st, prices are going up exponentially because, like I said, we keep the room open. There was a time where we were only doing 2.5 hours a time. We're basically in there, and Solid and I were in there last night at 1 o'clock in the morning, still talking about charts. So if you're an insomniac and you want to learn something, you never know what you're going to get in the Hit the Bid Room because we just have no lives. We love talking about stocks and preparing for our attack. And the more you prepare and the more you become familiar with market mechanics, the better you're going to do. And when you're hanging with guys like us who can't get enough of this stuff, you're going to learn from osmosis alone. So all that stuff. And again, and then I give you a trade like this Newegg short, and I hope you guys have been smashing it with me over the last 6 months, 6 days. I brought this to our room at $129.50. And I said, if you're willing to give yourself 6 points of risk, you might make 100 points on this trade. Because something else that Scanman knows as being a bear, I know what a pump and dump looks like. And when you Andy Dufresne, again, this is my favorite pattern ever, when they do the reverse stock split and they take stock out and they create a fake catalyst. And that's how, again, if you thought that this game was over with GameStop and AMC, there's a short squeeze stock every 3 days, and some do that. But the best part is the dump, right? And when people talk about, oh my God, you could have got killed shorting it. No, because I wait till it actually starts going down. You don't want to short while it's going up, right? So you don't got to be a hero. We saw the blow off top, and the next day it confirmed by not breaking a new high and then breaking the prior day low. And there's that 9-month VWAP that I thought we would get to. And now here, take a look at this yearly VWAP. And now you could go back and look at a lifetime VWAP. There's the 2-year. And like I said, when I was shorting it at $129.50, the stock's probably going back to $3 and then zero. Because 99 stocks out of 100 are dog shit, worthless pieces of garbage. Hi, my name's Kenny Glick, and I'm a bear. And I got a reason to be. Because most stocks stink, right? I'm not going to sit here and be delusional. The market doesn't go down because it's a club, right? You get it. We've had this conversation before. Very hard to keep an index down where if there's 100 stocks and 5 of them stop performing, they kick the 5 out of the club. Beat it. Give me 5 stocks that are uptrending to keep this perpetual lie of the market never going down going. I am Scan Man. Yeah, Scan Man's my twin brother, my evil twin. And that's my story. And email me, get in touch with me, come hang out, meet me, meet Solid Jello if you've never, if you're not getting to know us. And I don't want to make this in any way sound like I'm having some sort of conceited, arrogant moment with you that I know more about anything. It's me getting broken down by this industry that has made me the better trader that I am today, and able to teach it in such a clear and concise manner because of all the ass kicking that has happened to me, and I was able to survive. And that's why now I believe I am qualified to say I might be the number one day trader on earth, especially being able to teach and trade at the same time. I don't think there's anybody better. And again, my partner in crime, Solid Jello, takes it to a whole nother level because, man, he's like a robot. And to watch him in action is just an added bonus. And when you join our website, he just comes around every once in a while. And now lately he's been here every day. And he just shows you his algorithm. And if I show you my algorithm, will you show me your algorithm? And then that's all we do. And next thing you know, it's 20 years later. So if you're not doing anything tomorrow night, it's bring your own beer. I mean, if you're in the neighborhood, I'll invite you over. You could always come have a drink with me. I did find a really cool new brand of tequila. It's like a little dude. It's these little mariachi guys it was pretty good. You pay a little bit more to get the bottle, but yeah. So listen, I'm sorry I didn't get the point. Yeah. Give me some stocks. Yeah, I want to just bang out some charts for you guys because I'm not in anything right now. I wish I was short the Qs again, but I'm not. First Solar, big fan of the ironic nature of the entire trade this year. The government has tried to come after solars 3 times this year, saying, more or less, we're going to try to crush this industry. And 3 times they've come back. I like Sedge. First Solar is the king. And guys, if you don't know the nickname of this stock, fucking shorts left and right. First Solar. Yeah, this stock ruined my relationship with my father because I was shorting it, and I was getting hammered, and I refused to cover until my dad forced me to cover, which thank God he did. And it's forever been known as fucking shorts left and right. I got hammered. And, the ironic nature of the solars is why I like them. Because the government's coming after the sector and trying to hammer it, and they keep coming back. That is super bullish. And I like the Sedge a lot more than all the other ones because the stock is still really just sucking. It's still in the Andy Dufresne. We've had some fun with it. It really hasn't come out of the major bottom. And if it does, this thing could go to $63 from here. Big fan of the solars. But again, I'm more of a day trader, but big fan. Loving the Geo. Talk to me. You still got it? I've been waiting to buy this thing back. I think it's actually headed back. We were talking about this to $18, right? Prisons and insane asylums, right? Who doesn't like a prison and an insane asylum, right? I'm waiting on this one. This thing got way ahead of itself. I know a friend destroyed it on this name. Love it. I'm looking to see if it comes back to into that gap area where it really broke out from. This thing pulls back to 18. I'm going to like this thing. QUBT, huge fan of all things quantum. But again, I'm waiting for these stocks to come in a little bit, and then I'm going to take them serious again. Big fan of RGTI. Big fan of QUBT, QBTS. Huge fan. This is basically, if you've seen me on Yahoo Finance, I've been talking about these space rockets, robots, quantum, AI, and chips. That's why it's very hard to be a bear. PAR, P-A-R-R. Oh, you got me on that one. I don't know that symbol. PAR. Holy cow! What's this? Whatever it is, be in it. Whatever it is, be in it. You got a major faux show, bro. You got basically a lifetime VWAP break here, and you just basically faux show broed, and you're flirting with that high right there. This thing looks like it's inevitably going to $50. Never heard of it, but I like that chart. The stock's going all-time highs, whatever that is. I like it. Now, there's one I'm stalking, my man. Blush. Yeah. This is going to be a monster. Not now, but this is one of the stocks that kind of, you know, these last 3 IPOs have been fails. The Blush, the Fly. What's the other one? Oh, the Fig. So now, again, as a bear, normally when I see 3 failed IPOs in a row, that's usually a sign that the market's running out of steam. But again, the market never goes down, blah, 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 blah. But I'm a fan. I'm a fan of this Blush. I know it's bullish. But now that it broke under 80, it broke under 60, you have to assume this thing's going to $50. And if it doesn't hold 50, it's going to $30. And then we'll start seeing what's going on here. But when this turns, that's when you want to buy it. Right now, it's just ugly. These 3 last IPOs just terrible. Not a fan. PDD, huge fan. Monster. If you're in it today, be in it. I was just telling you, there was a 20,000 contract buy on the 121s for next month. Shorten the goog. Shorten the goog on the news that propelled them. Yeah, I mean, you know, usually I do like shorting stocks that are in the news. But, you know, if you shorted it today, you got faux showed, you know. There's no real reason to be short unless you break this price later in the day. You know, that 228.50 area, I wouldn't short this unless it breaks down under the VWAP and that big consolidation. That's like 227. Yeah. I don't like the Chinese stocks, but that PDD, that came right off my scanner today. Just massive call buying all day. And whoever was doing that, you know, they were right. OPAD. Oh, my God. That was a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, this was moving with open. Usually they're, you know, again, did this dump yet? Well, that's actually not so bad. You know, I don't know anything about the stock except that it was ripping that one day and we had some fun with it. But you see how it's inside this monstrous candle? By the way, this PDD has been ripping all day. If you're in it, somebody loves this. I'm telling you, man. Option. Oof. But you see this? This is what we call inside. So you're living inside this candle. You come out of it on the downside, stock going down. But you consolidate and you break high, stock go higher. And you just got to wait. You know, I don't know much about this, but you're still inside that big reaction candle. And I think this is a fairly new stock. If I'm not familiar. Oh, no, it's been around. It's a reverse stock split. Yeah, it's a weird one. Once you have a reverse stock split, it kind of just, you know, they're garbage. Anything with a reverse stock split is usually garbage. I saw something else. SNDK, huge fan, loves flash memory. I don't even look at that stock anymore. I remember they got taken over by Western Digital and they just spun them back out. Love it. Big fan of Snail Dick. We call it Snail Dick. Big fan of S Sandisk. Big fan of Rambus. And somebody was asking me about V-Wave. All right, here's another one. Don't sleep on my baby V-Wave. All right, let me show you this for a second. Hey, before I go, I gotta skedaddle. VWAP, defense AI. Monstrous candle. Inside. Looked like it was going to break down. Held. Rallied. Now you got a new inside. You come out of this candle. You see the stock breaking over 11. Buy it. If you see the stock breaking 1279, 1259, be in it. All right? I got a boogie. I'll see you guys soon. Thanks for stopping by. Email me. Let's get together tomorrow night. All right? All right? We're going to be talking nuclear. We'll be talking some VWAP. We'll be talking, all that stuff. And Midget Kiss might show up. So if you like Midget Kiss, and who doesn't? And we'll have Dawn on the show.